opening weekend arrived and a lot of things got moving, except for the first 60 seconds. Welcome to All Talk, all USL Talk, USL, coming with the latest scores, news, and developments in the second highest division in the United States men's professional soccer system, the USL Championship. I'm your host, as always, Vince Galvano. Happy Monday, March 9, 2026, episode 78, episode 2, season 3, Talk USL. Very interesting start to the season already with a strike on the line protest from the opening kickoffs across all the matches that took place. 20 of the 25 USL Championship teams kicked off this weekend in match day 1 of the USL. We're going to get right into it because before we even get to soccer from opening weekend, let's talk about that major moment right at the kickoff of the 2026 USL Championship season happening already, with all the teams. But first and foremost, on Friday night, it was Louisville heading over to Lexington, which opened the season with a silent protest. After the opening whistle, both teams stood motionless for 1 full minute to highlight the ongoing collective bargaining agreement, CBA, negotiations between the league and the USL Players Association. So what exactly is going on here? How serious is the situation? In case you've been living under a rock, totally cool because you come to the right place. So visible protest on opening night. So the protest came just days after USL players authorized a strike vote, giving their bargaining committee the power to call a strike in case negotiations fail between themselves and the league. So the two sides have been negotiating a new CBA, collective bargaining agreement, since August of 2024. The previous agreement expired at the end of 2025. And while both sides have continued operating under the old terms, talks have become increasingly tense. Even this week, the league and the players met with a federal mediator, but reports indicate the sides are still not close to, finding a final agreement. So the protest essentially meant that, as quote from the USL Players Association, a unified show of resolve, end quote. The union said negotiations have reached a decisive stage, and players will continue to speak out until a fair agreement is reached. Meanwhile, the league responded that its focus remains on returning to the bargaining table and also reaching a fair deal. So these are good signs. So where currently are the negotiations? Well, there's been some movement on key issues. For example, we know the league has raised its minimum compensation offer to $40,000, while the players reduced their demand from close to $44,000 now to $42,000. Several major issues remain unresolved, including health insurance standards across the league, entry-level contract for younger players, the name, image, and likeness compensation, as well as a plethora of league-wide benefits and protection. So why does this matter for the season without getting into the specifics of exactly what each factor is in the negotiation? If you want the specifics, just take a look anywhere online, but also at our previous episode when I talked about the season preview. There's a segment there where I go into it, what exactly is being asked from the latest one, which was about a week ago. So for now, the important thing is the season has started. Matches are being played, but the fact the players open the year with a league-wide visible protest shows how serious the situation remains. And until a new CBA is finalized, the labor negotiations will continue to be one of the biggest storylines surrounding the USL Championship season, especially for 2026, casting that large shadow. This is all from Jeff Carlisle on ESPN, providing all the latest updates and statements. You can also follow the official USL Players Association social media channels at USLPA on many of the social media platforms. And this is what we saw across the entire league this opening weekend. In a lot of cases, what we saw CBS Sports, the USL didn't say anything about it officially, nothing on the website about it, right? But what did they do? Well, in some cases, they continued to play music from the speakers in the opening minute of the protest. I heard there was one game that had gasoline, I'm in a hoop of gasoline. Still playing in that minute. From a production standpoint, CBS Sports were showing, or I think it was ESPN Plus, showing just pictures of the crowd for that opening minute. Commentators didn't mention anything of it, and then once the game kicked off, it was back to business as usual. But it's there, it's prominent, and people are starting to murmur in the fans, in the crowd. So, yeah, get ready. Let's hope this thing comes to a solid resolve because this matters big time. A lot of former players also coming out and saying that, hey, keep it up, keep on going. Don't follow the narrative of what you're doing is destroying the league. Actually, what you're doing is making the pathway better for the future. For all the future USL players, the current USL players, yes, but the future USL players, for the healthiness of the league, we need our players to have the right just necessities to actually flourish and start their career path for a lot of them, or continue their career path as a professional, semi-professional, but really professional soccer player, because this league is only going to get bigger and better as we go on. I mean, you have partnerships with major European clubs. We talked about Schalke last week in Monterey Bay. I mean, just on the Orange County website, you can talk about the path to glory with Rangers FC and Scotland. It's there, right? Frankfurt plays Louisville City in preseason all the time. Players when they come over here, teams when they come over here. Man City was training at Wake Med Soccer Park in North Carolina not too long ago too. So there's overlap. It's legit, and we want to continue to be legit. And this is why these players are standing up right now for their rights, big time. So let's get into the soccer action, and we'll continue as always to provide any updates when it comes to the protest in the future. Lexington versus Lou City. The 2026 season opened with a charged atmosphere in Kentucky, a derby between two Kentucky sides, and boom, right off the get-go, sellout crowd of 8,227. That was the number at Lexington Sporting City Stadium. The host struck the first real blow of the new campaign after working the ball through Louisville's high press. Debutant Aaron Malloy, captain debutant, one of the biggest signings during this offseason, and will now continue to be an engine. I mean, props to Aaron Malloy, because I think this is a great move for his career, especially if you want to stay in the USL Championship. You've done everything you needed to do, absolutely, at Charleston. Now, spearhead a new change. Lexington's a side that's serious, wants to grow, and you're at the forefront of it, so let's do it. Arrives in the second wave of this high press, unleashes a nice long-range strike, bounces, flies past the goalkeeper to give Lexington the early advantage and ignite the home crowd. It was electric, great technique. The ball bounces, like I said, right before the keeper could do anything about it. It's his 10th goal from outside the box as a USL Championship player. Louisville, as you know, will never go out silently, but hey, they had their moments before halftime. Jansen Wilson rattled the woodwork shortly after Malloy's goal. The visitors controlled possession, generated some pressure through set pieces, 6 corner kicks they had in the first half. Still, Lexington held firm defensively, carried the lead into the break, winning some key duels across the pitch. So at halftime, obviously, changes were going to need to be made, and Danny Cruz is the master of changes. Don't need to talk about him in any way besides this guy's got talent. He knows what's needed, and he introduces Kevin Lambert, Mukwele Akale, and Chris Donovan in the second half. The substitutions immediately shifted the momentum. 7 minutes after the restart, new signing from New Mexico, Akale announced himself with a brilliant solo effort on the right side in the final third, weaving through defenders with his left foot for calmly just pulling Louisville level with a nice shot to the near post. From there, Lambert's dominance in the midfield helped Louisville regain control. Tackles and duels are being won that allowed the visitors to sustain pressure in Lexington's half, and the pressure finally paid off. Chris Donovan getting the ball in tight space at the top of the area, far left side, right? Dribbles in and out of pressure there, no problem. Nice silky touches. Has a nice shot inside. Tries to go for the far post. Instead, Lexington goalkeeper parries it to the left. Who's there? Aiden McFadden, reacting quickest to smash home the rebound in the right place, right time, and complete the turnaround. Louisville held on to the closing stages to secure a 2-1 victory and open their season with a comeback win. So rallying coming down from that one goal to make it 2. Halftime adjustments, we can say, changed the match. Triple substitution between Lambert, Akali, and Donovan transformed Louisville's control. Lambert was great in the midfield. Lexington, got to give him, a lot of props for, we can say, capitalizing on the energy, the sold-out crowd, because they were physical early. They won those key duels. They had decided to pull a shot off from the outside of the box. They worked on that pressure. That was great. Boom. But these debutants, man, we're going to talk a lot of them because the new signing soared this opening weekend. Akali's debut provided instant impact. His individual goals sparked the comeback, shifted the match's emotional momentum, and Louisville's winning culture continues. This marked Lou City's 7th consecutive season opening win, 4th straight victory over their rivals, Lexington. And that's the thing. We talked about it before when discussing what Louisville can do different, per se. But, have the odds stacked up against them a little bit and then make those changes. Force your way into these comeback situations because this is only going to make you stronger, especially if you want to last much more than you have in the past in the offseason, right? Understand what it's like to be down by a goal. Understand what is needed. Understand changes-wise, personnel-wise. Takes a whole bench, takes a whole roster to factor in those changes. And that will make your team stronger overall and exposing yourself to a variety of different situations before you get into the offseason. And I've been there. I've done that in my high school. Last senior year, we weren't down too much throughout the regular season. Once we were down in the playoffs, panic ensued. So you really need a whole variety of exposure before you get there. Akali, Lambert. We can also mention Brandon Days, the 17-year-old center back, impressed in a high-pressure role. Days recorded 84 touches, completed 68 of 72 passes for Louisville, even created one chance, and led the match with 9 recoveries, showcasing maturity well beyond his age at 17 years old. And then looking at Lexington, debutant captain, Aaron Malloy, putting in an Aaron Malloy performance. What does that mean? High pass accuracy, 70, 79 passes complete, 94 touches, scoring a goal, being the engine that runs the side. And Lexington, I know it stinks the fact that, hey, you dropped the opener to Louisville City, but you dropped the opener to Louisville City. I mean, this is what depth does. This is what Danny Cruz does. This is what this team does. So, hey, take the positives with the negatives for sure. And as Malloy emphasized after the match, the team's work rate, character despite the defeat, expressing confidence that Lexington can bounce back in the coming weeks, and you sure can. You're not going to be taking on the likes of Louisville City. So that's out of the way. Cruz acknowledged the performance wasn't perfect, but praised his team's resilience and ability to respond after halftime, noting the squad still has plenty of room to improve despite finding a way to win. Thanks, Nicholas Murray there. That's on USLChampionship.com. 3 things we learned from the opening weekend. Teams that were not there in the opening weekend, just an FYI reminder, New Mexico, Miami, Loudoun, Rhode Island, Detroit start soon, but not yet. Charleston taking on Pittsburgh. This at Patriots Point. A former Riverhound haunting his old club. That's really the headline here. The defending champions, Pittsburgh Riverhounds, opened their 2026 campaign on the road to one of their toughest conference rivals, Charleston Battery. The hosts started brightly, controlling possession early, forcing Riverhounds goalkeeper newly acquired Nico Campazano from Monterey Bay into multiple action saves in the opening stages. Campazano responded with a pair of strong early saves to keep Pittsburgh level, but Charleston's pressure continued to mount as they dominated possession and territory through the first half. So as the half moved towards stoppage time, Charleston they started to find that breakthrough. A set piece delivery into the box allowed former Riverhound defender, newly acquired Sean Suber, number 5, playing the defensive midfielder role, to rise and power home a header, sending the Battery into halftime with the lead after controlling much of the opening 45 minutes. Doesn't mind either celebrating against his former side, making sure to give some props to the assist, the wonderful delivery from Jeremy Kelly. Charleston doubled the advantage shortly after the restart. A slick one-touch build-up ended with Wilmer Cabrera Jr., a new signing from El Paso Locomotive, receiving the ball just outside the box before striking a clean first-time finish from distance. Left Campazano with little chance. Pittsburgh responded about 10 minutes later when Charles All drove into the box on the left side, cut the ball across goal in an attempt to block the pass intended for Albert Diqua, who returned to his side of Pittsburgh. Charleston defender Nathan Messer inadvertently turned the ball into his own net, giving the Hounds a lifeline, an own goal. That's not too much of his own fault because if he wasn't there, Deke would have put that in. And then new signing, Malik Foster, almost finding the net in the 71st minute for Charleston to seal the deal, but Campuzano makes a ridiculous foot save to deny Foster. From there, Pittsburgh pushed forward in search of an equalizer, throwing in additional attacking players, mounting the pressure late on. The opportunity best came deep in stoppage time with Trevor Amon. Yeah, new signing here. Shots deflected towards goal, but former Riverhound goalkeeper Luis Zamudio reacted quickly to deny what could have been another own goal. Charleston held firm through the final moments to secure the results. So there you have it. Charleston, out of all the teams right there, just to rub salt in the wound of Pittsburgh. Welcome back to the champs. You know it's never going to be easy defending that championship on opening day, especially against the Charleston side that's using former Pittsburgh sides to really make sure they get the end result. Shout out to new signings Wilmer Cabrera Jr. delivering the standout attacking moment of the match, finishing a smooth build-up with a composed one-time strike. As a new signing from El Paso, Sean Suber, of course, former Riverhound, haunting his old club here with a powerful header just before halftime. And then, Nico Campuzano also making his club debut. It's big shoes to fill in the role of Eric Dick from last season, but Keeper produced 4 saves in the night, including several key stops early in that beautiful foot save on Malik Foster. The question, I think, was Charleston simply the better team on opening night? Yeah, you could say that. Obviously dominating possession, creating better chances, capitalizing on 2 key moments. But Pittsburgh responded with urgency late and nearly stole a point. And that's something to keep in mind as well. There's fight still in the Riverhounds, and it'll be very interesting when they have their homecoming match soon as they return home. Pittsburgh Riverhounds Rob Vincent, who signed a contract extension with the club after taking over from Bob Lilly, acknowledged Charleston deserved the win overall, but noted that both goals conceded were preventable and emphasized that his team still had chances in the second half to salvage a draw. John Krasinski from Pittsburgh Soccer Now there with the coverage. Sacramento Republic FC opened its 2026 campaign at Heart Health Park in front of a sold-out crowd, hosting defending Western Conference champions FC Tulsa in what began as a tightly contested affair. Both teams probed early but struggled to create clear chances, with Sacramento looking to control possession while Tulsa finding moments in transition. Despite the attacking intent, the first half finished scoreless, but shortly after the restart, Sacramento thought they had taken the lead. Foster Ayago beating his defender, slipping a pass through to Arturo Rodriguez, who calmly finished it into the net. The stadium erupted momentarily before the celebration was cut short, as one of the key referees, Greg Dopka, signaled a delay foul against Ayago, wiping the goal off the board, keeping the match level. But that didn't stop Freddie Kleeman in the 68th minute. Ryan Spalding created space down the flank with a precise cross towards the back post, where defender Freddie Kleeman surged forward to meet it and bury his first goal for Sacramento. With Tulsa pushing numbers forward in search of an equalizer, the hosts remained composed, waited for their opportunity to strike again like a cobra. The moment came on a counterattack late in the match as Tulsa defense collapsed around Arturo Rodriguez. The midfielder slipped a pass wide to debutant Kyle Edwards, who collected the ball calmly and fired a low shot in the corner past Alex Tambakis to seal the result behind a strong defensive effort and 3 saves from goalkeeper Danny Vitiello. Sacramento secured the victory and a milestone result for the club, a milestone result for Danny Vitiello, the club's 200th victory. And just to confirm as well from Danny Vitiello's side, the big news, obviously 59, the magical number there, because it was his 59th career shutout, the most in USL Championship history. That's a great headline there. So congratulations to Danny Vitiello. Just a tremendous goalkeeper, a storied career playing for the likes of Nashville when they were in the USL in New Mexico, Pittsburgh, and obviously now it's Sacramento. 59 career shutouts, tremendous accomplishment. Congratulations to Danny Vitiello. All right, let's talk about the new team, Sporting Jacks, hosting Hartford Athletic at Hodges Stadium. Obviously, in every game, just a reminder, teams standing silently for 60 seconds in support of the players across the league amid the ongoing USL Championship, a labor dispute. But once the match got underway, Jacksonville looked slightly sharper early on. Neither side could create much rhythm in the attack in the opening stages, although the host did find a few dangerous headed opportunities that went unpunished. But as the first half wore on, Hartford gradually settling in, eventually finding a breakthrough in scrappy fashion. A long ball helped create chaos in the box. Jacksonville goalkeeper Christian Oliveras was taken out in a collision, and Augustine Williams, brand new siding, reacted quickest to track down the loose ball and finish, opening his Hartford account. Jacksonville pushed hard before halftime through a series of set pieces, but Hartford carried that narrow lead into the break. Second half nearly swung immediately when a Hartford giveaway opened the door for Jacksonville. But Anthony Sia came up with a big save to preserve the lead. Hartford then had a chance to take firmer control when Augie Williams stepped up from the penalty spot, but his effort was saved. Jacksonville continued to press for an equalizer, only for Hartford to grow stronger as the half progressed. 79th minute, substitute Samuel Carriaga arrived in the box, finished off a cross from Miche and Galena. Then deep into the stoppage time, Carriaga turned provider, slipping in fellow substitute Adewale Abolola to provide the game result, a victory to Hartford. They're running out 3-1 winners. The match, obviously, a great debut for Augie Williams to mention. We can mention him. I think Samuel Carriaga changed the match off the bench, obviously, with his goal, and Galena has been consistently a threat for this Hartford side. Sporting Jacks will take solace in the fact that they saved the penalty kick. It was a 1-0 gain for a majority of the contest despite the remaining 10 minutes. But we can say in the end it was a comfortable Hartford win, sort of. Not for most of the night. I mean, Jacksonville did have stretches where they looked capable of getting back into the game. Hartford did need that big moment from Sia to plus some wasteful finishing from the host, honestly, to stay ahead. But what made it feel comfortable in the end was Hartford's depth, the game management, especially once the substitutes came on and made the difference. Oliver Scholes from the Blazing Musket with the coverage there. We shift over to Birmingham against Tampa. Tampa, one of the sides that have honestly one of the most changed sides from last year. Birmingham, though, did announce some recent acquisitions, including Serge Ngoma, on loan from Red Bull New York of Major League Soccer for the entirety of the 2026 USL Championship season. He enters his 5th season as a professional in 2026, having recorded 4 goals in 35 appearances for Red Bull since his first team debut back in 2022. The 20-year-old had previously recorded 3 goals and 1 assist for New York Red Bulls, 2 in the USL Championship across 23 appearances between the 2020 and 22 seasons, respectively, in MLS Next Pro. But now he's an exciting young player with pace and confidence in one-on-one situations that lead head coach Jay Heaps. He can stretch defenses, create chances. We're excited to have him here in Birmingham, one of the recent acquisitions that had taken place for Birmingham. In addition to that, we can put Leo Duro on that list as well. Just announced pretty much right before kickoff, honestly. It was Leo Duro from Blackburn Rovers Academy, making 74 appearances across under 18 and under 20 competitions. A side back in those games, racked up 3 goals, notched 9 assists. 21-year-old, part of Manchester Academy before moving to Blackburn Academy, was on loan with San Diego FC before this season, so he immediately started at that right back position for Birmingham on this one. So it took a while for this game to start. There was lightning in the area, which forced a delay of more than 90 minutes before kickoff, though when the match finally got underway shortly after 9:30 p.m., steady rain continued to fall, creating slick conditions that made controlling possession, building rhythm difficult for both sides. Despite the weather, though, Birmingham could have had the lead in the second minute after a giveaway led to a counterattack that made its way to the left side where Pasher recuperates the ball. Diarbin comes on the left from an overlap and run, strikes it at great height, but Waite makes a nice save. New manager Jay Heaps knew the moment was too good to be true. Disappointed, obviously, with the end result not finding the back of the net. Tampa managed to dictate from there much of the early tempo. The Rowdies held a slight advantage in possession during the first half, carved out a few promising moments in the box, but neither team could make it. At the end, the decisive moment arrived shortly after the interval. A long throw into Birmingham's near penalty area sparked a scramble that eventually fell to Sebastian Cruz, who quickly recycled the ball back into danger. The delivery skimmed off Pedro Dolabella before landing perfectly for substitute and new signing Marco Micheletto from Colorado Springs Switchbacks, who unleashed a powerful strike into the net to give Tampa Bay the lead. Birmingham attempted to push forward late as the match grew increasingly physical, but the Rowdies' defense stood firm to secure a narrow 1-0 victory. Probably that goal would not have happened had it have been for the yellow card for Lewis Hilton that probably prompted that sub to happen a bit earlier than anticipated. That goal happening in the 58th minute, but making an immediate impact off the bench. Sebastian Cruz played a key role in the build-up to the goal with quick reaction to recycle the ball. And then Diarbian, who joins the Legion, in addition to Leo Duro, he also looked quite solid in this one, having spent the past 2 seasons with the New England Revolution 2 of MLS Next Pro. He recorded 10 goals and 6 assists in 55 appearances. Let's also mention Max Schneider, who was out there in the midfield for Tampa Bay Rowdies. He played with Bayer Leverkusen under 19 last season. He was with Union Omaha, now with Tampa Bay, and made a solid debut. Some really solid numbers from him. He was FOP Mob's man of the match with a 8.0 rating, which included, not to mention, 2 chances created, 6 total defensive contributions, including 3 tackles, 1 headed clearance, 2 clearances, 1 interception, 6 recoveries in the night, a lot of touches as well. 53 passes completed with an 87% pass accuracy. Was doing it all, both sides of the pitch. Almost gave away that careless giveaway in the 2nd minute, but responded well. Pedro Dolabella helped redirect a cross that eventually fell to Micheletto for the finish, so props to him. And then Brian Schaefer and Nate Dos Santos anchoring the Rowdies' back line and helped limit Birmingham's attacking threat. I should have mentioned Nate Dos Santos was a big signing in the offseason for Tampa from Charleston. That was a big one. He was playing center back, which is not typically the position we'd seen him in. Typically he was a left back, but now moving a bit more centrally, so that's a bit of a challenge, but handled it quite well. And yeah, I think this result says a lot about Tampa Bay under Dominic Quixada. I mean, they navigated difficult weather conditions, delayed kickoff, physical match, but they remained disciplined defensively, and they start the season with a clean sheet, something that took until mid-July last year. So a bit more structured defensive identity, perhaps, under this new Tampa Bay side. I think one thing we have to mention is that the head coach Quixada had emphasized team's control, defensive discipline as well, but he also noted that Tampa Bay limited Birmingham's chances while executing a set-piece routine that produced the winning goal. Strong team performance that the club can build on early in the season. Sacramento taking on Phoenix. Sorry, not Sacramento. San Antonio taking on Phoenix. I always get those two mixed up. It's part of their acronyms because I have SAC for Sacramento, and then I have SAFC for San Antonio. Probably look to change that. Anyway, looking to turn the page on this one at Toyota Field for Phoenix in last year's regular season meetings. They were shut out twice by Phoenix San Antonio, so they needed to turn the page on this one. The visitors arrived in Texas with a refreshed lineup featuring 7 players making their club debuts, including 16-year-old Anthony Capetillo, who became one of the youngest players ever to start for the club of Phoenix Rising. Despite the youthful lineup, Phoenix began competitively in what quickly developed into a physical and high-energy season opener, but San Antonio wasted little time setting the tone. Just 6 minutes into the match, a quick attacking move down the flank led to Christian Pirano delivering a low cross into the box where Jorge Hernandez finished to give the side a nice home early advantage. And I mean, who else besides Jorge? Nicely tucked home in the near post. For that finish, the hosts continued to press aggressively through the remainder of the first half. Shortly after the restart, San Antonio doubling the lead in the 49th minute. Pressure high up the pitch forced a turnover in Phoenix defensive third. It was Christian Pirano who again reacted quickly, laying off a 1-2 little pass between him and Alex Crognali. Crognali strikes an angle shot from outside the box that bounces into the corner of the net to extend the lead. Phoenix respond quickly, though. In the 54th minute, when JPCRs converted from the penalty spot after a foul in the box, the visitors pushed forward in the final half an hour, finishing with multiple shots on target, but San Antonio goalkeeper Joey Batruni produced a crucial save, and they're around the 70th minute mark to deny Colin Smith, while defenders came up with some key late blocks as well. San Antonio capitalizes on early pressure, clinical finishing to defeat Phoenix Rising 2-1 in the season opener, turning a new page after being shut out twice by Phoenix. Last time around, Christian Pirano looked really good in this one, central to the attack, assisting both San Antonio goals. Phoenix, though, featured a heavily rotated lineup. That's 16-year-old Anthony Capetillo earning his first professional start as well. We'll have to mention him, but it was Pirano, Crognali, Jorge Hernandez, We can even mention Joey Petruni, the goalkeeper for San Antonio, making some good performances to get their side the lead in this one. Phoenix Rising Communications, Kyle there with some of the coverage, as well as David Kunder of San Antonio Express. Let's talk one of the best games, in my opinion, of the opening weekend, because I love a 2-2 draw wherever I see it. El Paso taking on Colorado Springs. Switchbacks at Southwest University Park. Late drama in the desert for this one. Colorado Springs began the 2026 campaign on the road here in Texas. New coach Alan McCann unveiled several offseason additions against El Paso. The match also marked the first competitive game in charge for El Paso's new head coach, Junior Gonzalez. So two brand new coaches here for each side. So visitors making an immediate statement early on in the match. Just 5 minutes in, a corner kick caused chaos in the local penalty area. A great set-piece play. Corey Bennett reacted quickest to give the Switchbacks an early advantage. What we see here was just players packing up the sixth. Ball in the back post, headed across again, and there he was. El Paso, though, gradually grew into the game, found their breakthrough midway through the first half. A shot rattling off the post from Eric Calvillo fell kindly inside the 6-yard box. The ricochet off the post fell straight to Rubio Rubin, a brand new signing from Charleston, who pounced to level the match after halftime. The hosts strike again when Colorado Springs lose possession in their own penalty area, which allows Rubio Rubin to capitalize and put Locomotive in front. Despite creating very little in the final third, the Switchbacks found a way back. A long throw from Sam Williams sparked a decisive moment as Isaiah Foster rose highest, directed a header towards the far post beyond goalkeeper Abraham Romero. With Colorado making the most of their limited chances and goalkeeper Christian Herrera holding firm late on, this match would end 2-2 as they'd share the spoils, but early impact from offseason signing Corey Bennett, who scored just 5 minutes, but El Paso's Rubio Rubin proving dangerous throughout. I'm really looking forward to the interplay between Moreno, Rubin, and Calvillo for El Paso in this season. But from what I see already of Alan McCann, he prioritized set pieces in the offseason. Taylor Maples obviously made his debut here after signing from New Mexico. He was partnered with Matt Mahoney in that back line for Colorado. I think a big question here is, can Colorado compete while generating so few chances? Based on this match, efficiency may be their early season identity. They produced only 2 shots on target, yet scored twice, showing, clinical finishing, strong set-piece execution. There was no Daroma, the new signing for El Paso for this match, so he didn't face his former club. No Speedy Williams as well, who signed from Lexington. So the fact 2 new signings couldn't feature, Colorado got a draw here with some good set-piece play is a good indication for their road ahead. I think also we can say no sign of the Danny Rojas, Ted Lasso star. Christopher Fernandez was not on the bench for El Paso, despite featuring prominently in all the headlines as well as in the preseason training with the club. Still to be determined if he's made the team or not. I'm sure we'll get some more as this week progresses as well. I'll be able to report that whenever we hear something new from his side. But 2-2 draw there between El Paso and Colorado. A couple other games to cover as we then wrap up the episode, but we had to get into Monterey Bay taking on Oakland. A couple additional new signings for both these sides prior to this one starting. Oakland Roots announced on Friday that Jackson Keel has been signed ahead of the 2026 season. Keel available for selection as well. He enters the professional ranks after a stellar career at Stanford University. Saw him record 15 goals and 6 assists in 54 appearances for the Cardinal. The 22-year-old posted a 21.4% shot conversion rate during his college career, notching approximately a 50% shooting accuracy as well. Meanwhile, Monterey Bay announced the signings of Abdel Talabi, who was selected 30th overall in the 2026 Major League Soccer Super Draft by Inter Miami after his successful career at Bryant University, becoming the first Bulldog ever to be selected in the draft. 24-year-old played 5 seasons for the Bulldogs, carving out a key role in the back line. And in his final season, Bryant's defense conceded only 8 goals during the regular season while serving as a defensive captain and starting every single game for the Bulldogs. Apart from his defensive excellence, he scored 6 career goals, 3 in 2025, recorded 4 assists in his program as well. We talked a little bit about Kieran Dalton, the shot stopper out of Rutgers. He's also part of the team now, after coming from New York Red Bulls too. So A lot of college featured signings for both these sides. In this one, I can tell you though, Talabi started in that right center back position in the back three for Monterey Bay. And we also had Kiel coming off the bench in this one. It was a late goal that decided the tight California derby. And I think if you look at the map, if you look at Monterey Bay, what you don't want in your opening season is Oakland, especially as a home team, because it's only a 2-hour drive. So a lot of Oakland Roots fans in attendance at Cardinal Stadium. Both sides entered the match with fresh rosters, plenty of off-season turnover. Monterey Bay featuring the youngest average age of the season so far, with it being just hovering right underneath 24 years old average age to the starting 11. The match itself, though, there was both teams trying to find that rhythm early on. Not many clear-cut chances. We can say Monterey Bay's Elijah Paul, returning after surgery late season, nearly broke the deadlock in the second half, though, when his effort was cleared off the line. One of the best chances for Monterey Bay on the night. Early in the match, Lamtadze had a promising look for Monterey Bay, but couldn't keep his left foot attempt underneath the bar. Oakland, on the other hand, new era here. Head coach Ryan Martin, the early stages of the match, cagey. It's looking like Loudon 2.0, we can really say, because he had Tom McCabe, for instance, in that center of the park. But the match opened up significantly in the second half. Monterey, so they almost took the lead, like you said, in the 67th minute. But goalkeeper, the Swiss man himself, Raphael Spiegel, produced a strong initial save before the rebound fell dangerously in front of the goal. Center back Michael Edwards reacted quickly to clear that second attempt off the line there. And then Oakland pushed forward late and thought they had taken the lead when Danny Trejo rose to meet across the box, only for the goal to be ruled off for offside. Moments later, though, the breakthrough finally arrived after an Oakland corner kick from the far left side. Deflected to the top of the penalty area, Mark Fisher takes the touch, does a Cruyff turn, and absolutely rips a shot with his left for himself. And boom, this one is emphatically in the net to make it 1-0. The only goal here between the two sides. Oakland come away from their neighbors, we can say, their rivals, with a nice 1-0 victory in the debut of Ryan Martin's tenure as Oakland Roots head coach. Oakland controlled possession for much of the match, as we can anticipate with Ryan Martin's side. 61% of the ball, over 500 total passes. Danny Trejo making an immediate impact on his bed. Mark Fisher delivered a decisive moment, so we can mention him. New signings, Richie and Ross, also featured, by the way, in Monterey Bay's starting 11. What else can we mention about other players? Michael Edwards with the defensive line clearance. We had also Yairu Hanga dictating the flow a little bit in the midfield, along with Thomas McKay and Tyler Gibson for Oakland. He looked pretty good, and I think Oakland's possession dominance translated into overall control of the match, as typical with the Ryan Martin side, because you kind of lose a little bit of focus, and then things can start to open up, especially on set pieces, as we tailor towards the tail end of the game. But yeah, Jonathan Kamoa of Roots Blog there with the coverage, as well as Paul Bloom from Monterey Bay. Supporters recap, and that's Monterey Bay taking on Oakland. Final match to cover here, Orange County taking on Las Vegas, the Championship Soccer Stadium in Irvine, California. This time around, Orange County also made some additions to their roster, signing forward Yaniv Banzini, arriving in Orange County on Friday after recorded 11 goals and 4 assists in 31 appearances from South Georgia Tormenta FC during the 2025 USL League One season. The 26-year-old recorded 48 shots, 70 chances that created, as he helped Tormenta reach the postseason with 6 goals in his final 7 appearances of the regular season. That was an interesting striker, but take a look at this. Las Vegas Lights announced this past Thursday they signed forward Olex Anderson for the 2026 USL Championship season. The 30-year-old made 27 appearances for North Carolina FC in the 2025 campaign, scoring 8 goals and giving out 3 assists as the side reached the USL Championship Eastern Conference semifinals. So ironically, from North Carolina folding, from South Georgia Tormenta not fielding a team for this season, both sides here reaping the benefits, signing strikers from each of their respective former clubs. Orange County striking first in this one, midway through the first half, when McKinnon found space in the attack and finished from close range after a build-up that exposed the Lights' back line. Despite the setback, though, Las Vegas continued to try to make control of the ball and look increasingly dangerous. The match progressed into the second half. Searching for a breakthrough, head coach Devin Rensing turned to his bench, In the 73rd minute, introducing the one, the only Knight Pickering, who's been a mainstay at Las Vegas these past couple seasons in hopes of injecting energy into the attack. The change paid late off in the match in the 86th minute when Captain Christian Pinzon delivered a well-placed cross into the box where Pickering rose to meet it, glancing a header past goalkeeper Alex Arando to ensure that this would end 1-1 between the two sides, sharing the points on the opening day in Orange County, California. And this one, you can really say, just from looking at it, it was quite a balanced affair on the night, stats-wise. Orange County pulled up with 5 shots in total, while Las Vegas had 6 shots throughout the course of the match. We can also say, touches in the opposition backs weren't too much. 9 for Las Vegas, 6 for Orange County. So a lot of this game happening really in the middle third between the two sides. Christian Pinzon did come away with the Man of the Match award, according to Fought Mob, for his accurate passes, his defensive contributions, creating 2 chances on the night, as well as getting that assist for Knight Pickering's goal. But I think both sides will take the draw and move on from there. I think from Orange County's standpoint, obviously you always want to win the home opener. We did start strong with that beautiful McKinnon goal in the 22nd minute to get the fans off their feet. Elsewhere, any questions? Was there a possession advantage on the night for Las Vegas? Close to 60%, yeah. But, they controlled possession for long stretches. The equalizer ultimately rewarded their persistence, sure. Still not too many chances that separated each side here. But hey, the substitute provided a solid result for Las Vegas here. So props to head coach Devin Rensing. And the fact that Las Vegas do not lose their opening match is a sign, hopefully, for good things to come, as opposed to the dreadful last season. Elsewhere to look at, Brooklyn taking on Indy 11, one of the most interesting games of the opening weekend, obviously featuring always an expansion side for Brooklyn. It's an historic moment, the club's first ever USL Championship match. Meanwhile, Indy 11 enters the match beginning its 9th USL Championship season, 13th as a franchise, bringing one of the more experienced squads in the Eastern Conference. Indy brings back 10 players from last season. One of them is a big one, Aiden Quinn. Career numbers include, 61 assists, second all-time USL Championship, over 24,000 minutes played, one of the most in league history, 118 total goal contributions, so experience and leadership from Indy 11's side, led by Sean McCauley, so he's back for his 3rd season in charge here, which is, as we talked a lot about Brooklyn in our last episode, but in this expansion team playing its first ever match. Question is really, will Indy's experience control the match, or could Brooklyn make a statement in its first game in club history? Either way, it'll be an historic afternoon at Miami Knights Park as Brooklyn officially begins its life in the USL Championship. We'll have that coverage for that game next episode, as I'm recording on a Sunday here in Central Europe. I think we could talk about, just from, not going to talk league table wise, but I will talk about some, players that stood out opening weekend wise, just from their goal and assist contributions. Rubio Rubin, the big one in the Guatemalteca forward for El Paso, signing from Charleston, being one of the most impactful signings, scoring 2 goals in that draw against Colorado. Isaiah Foster looked really good for the Switchbacks. 1 goal, 1 assist for him. So that game just really had, from both sides of the coin, really solid contributions from each player. Christian Pirano looked great, the Argentine, for San Antonio with those 2 assists to get that 2-1 win, over Phoenix. And Samuel Carriaga, the Argentine midfielder for Hartford, also coming in with a goal and assist in his match for Hartford against Sporting Jack. So, yeah, solid stuff all around. I'll put in a little poll towards the bottom on Spotify for what you want and what you think in regards to some of the best new signings who have really provided the biggest influence. Was it Aaron Malloy, for instance? Was it Mukwele Akale? Instead, for Louisville, you have Rubio Rubin. There's so many to choose from. Sean Suber, Wilmer Cabrera. So new signings really already making and getting off to a strong start. Next week, this is what we can expect. Wednesday, midweek game. Birmingham hosting Hartford at 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 Pacific. Saturday, March 14. We'll start early in 3 p.m. Eastern. I think it will be 12 Pacific. Loudoun United will host Pittsburgh. So Pittsburgh will continue their travel on the roads. Meanwhile, Lou City will have a home opener against Miami FC on Saturday, March 14 at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 Pacific. Detroit, at the same time, will host Brooklyn for their first match of the USL 2026 campaign. In addition to that, you'll have Rhode Island hosting Sporting Jacks at Centerville Bank Stadium for their first match of the 2026 campaign. Colorado, an hour later, will host Las Vegas, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 Pacific. Lexington then gets the night underway against Sacramento at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific. FC Tulsa taking on San Antonio at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific. The Western Conference champions will have their home opener, homecoming, after a tremendous 2025 season against the San Antonio side. It just came off a nice solid 2-1 victory over Phoenix. That should be a good match. Monterey Bay hosts El Paso at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific on Saturday. You also have, at the same time, Phoenix Rising hosting Orange County and Oakland Roots hosting New Mexico for their start to the 2026 campaign. But with that, it's been a privilege. It's been a pleasure. Thanks so much for listening. As always, you can find me everywhere on Talk USL and socials. If you want to reach out, just hit me up in the DMs or write me at talkuslchampionship@gmail.com. A big thing is just let's see where this protest goes as this week progresses, but we'll obviously have more every Monday here on Talk USL. Everyone have a great week. Take care and bye for now.